Hello, today again I'm on the island of Nevis, and to the back of me is the Alexander Hamilton Museum and the Nevis House of Assembly. But I'm going to show you what you can see here is the Nevis Island Assembly and the Museum of Nevis history. But the history of this house is that this was Alexander Hamilton's home, which was one of the founding fathers of the United States of America. And we'll go a little bit into that afterwards, but I'm going to show you a little bit of inside the Museum of Nevis history, where you will have some wonderful history of Nevis. How are you doing, sir? Yeah. You have the introduction here, and right here you have millions of years ago how it was in these islands with the natives. But we're gonna go straight into the Atlantic slave trade, and you can see this is West Africa here, and you had slaves being transported into the New World, which is South America, the Caribbean and America, from Africa here, and from here all the way to the Caribbean, which is on the island of Nevis, is one of these islands that slaves were transported from. All of this is information which, when you have a chance, you could come on in and have a look of it. But we're going to go straight into the Atlantic slave trade. I don't know if you can read. This is saying for more than 2,000 years in many different parts of the world have been forced their fellow humans into slavery. Yeah, all the way down, and down here you have the triangular slave trade. What the Europeans did was they transported Africans from Africa all the way to the Caribbean by boat, and then they did farming here, and all the goods that they got went back to Europe, and then those goods were manufactured and came down to Africa, and they were supplied the whole world again. So it was like a triangular thing. Goods going up, slaves going down, across. This is Africa again, and this is the condition of the slaves here on the boat. This is how they slept, and this is a map of Mother Africa. You see the chains here. These chains were used to tie up enslaved Africans so that they wouldn't run away. Wow. Telling you. And yeah, and this is a game. This is a game that is currently being played in Ghana right now. I normally see this game online, and this was one of the games that were played in Africa. I don't know if was played here on the island, but for sure I see this game being played all the time. And you have a picture here. You can see the enslaved Africans on the fields. This is how it was. You see the donkey right there. They use the donkey to transport the sugar cane, and you have the children working in the fields as well. And those sugar mills that you see all around the island, this is how it was. Yeah. These are some of the stuff, furniture and stuff that was used during slavery. They don't have any labels as to what there was, but this is how it was here. And I think this copper here was used to boil sugar cane. And if you go throughout the island on Nevis, you will see people have these in their yards still. And the early crops, how are we doing? The early crops here. This is exactly how it was. Plantation life. This is a lot of information to read, which I'm not going to read all of it. Sandy Point. Oh, the painting of a Sandy Point plantation in St. Kitts. This is Sandy Point in St. Kitts. So the plantation was in St. Kitts. And all of these were enslaved Africans that were being used. You can see this is New River Estate. This is one of the plantations currently how it is right now. The first hotel in the Caribbean. This is it right now. This is how it is currently. Where Europeans used to come back in the days and enjoy. So we have a long history here on the island of tourism. It wasn't that nice back then, but the traditions continued on and on and on. And this is modern Nevis, how Nevis is, information about modern Nevis. All of this here, which you can read. You need to come on inside here and have a look. This is very informative. African influences. See, we have African influences on the island. Each island is unique because the culture is shaped by European, African, and native Indians, all mixed up to make one Caribbean culture. So that is the culture now. Everything is mixed up. And this is Africa, and information here on Africa. This is saying the peoples of West Africa had a rich and varied history and culture long before Europeans, slavers arrived. They had a wide variety of political management, including kingdoms, city-states, and other organizations, each with their own languages and culture. This includes Benin, Mali, Congo. So this is saying before the slave trade, West Africa had a rich cultural history and well-organized system of governance. They had cities, they had everything in place. This is the world's the richest man ever. You heard of Mansa Musa from Mali. He was the richest man in history of the world. See the Mali Empire here in West Africa. Yeah. And right here is the native Amerindians who were on the island before enslaved Africans came. And you have, of course, Haile Selassie, which is, Rastafari normally talk about Haile Selassie, Emperor of Ethiopia. Ethiopia is the only African country that was never enslaved. They actually defeated the Italians when they came to try to enslave the Africans. And we're gonna go outside here, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you a little bit of Alexander Hamilton's house. Upstairs is used as a museum. We're gonna try to see if we could see inside here to show you inside. This is the House of Assembly, the Nevis House of Assembly. I don't know if you could see inside here, but from the view at the top, this is how the view at the top is. Have a lot of tourists outside waiting to come in. But yeah, so what I'm going to show you is a little bit of Alexander Hamilton's house, which is another section of the property over here. And this house here has a lot of history about Alexander Hamilton inside, and we're gonna get a little bit into Alexander Hamilton and his hand in the slave trade. So see Alexander Hamilton's museum, and you have lots of history coming here. This is one of the founding fathers of America, Alexander Hamilton, and he lived right here. He was born in Nevis. See? The man who made modern America. And you could see this. This is a whole room of information on Alexander Hamilton, so you could come on in and have a look whenever you have the chance to. Let's speed this up a little bit. See, it's a whole room of about Alexander Hamilton, and the museum have a little gift shop which is right here. And you could get your books. This is a book here. See, Simeon Daniel, the first premier of Nevis. You could get all these books right in here, all manner of books about the island of Nevis and the history. Nice books for the children here as well. We'll go outside. It's a hot day today. Wow. It's a very, very hot day today on the island of Nevis. But what we just saw there was Alexander Hamilton's home, which is here, and all of this was the home of Alexander Hamilton. And I got some information about the role of Alexander Hamilton in the slave trade. Now, his father, Alexander Hamilton's father, was one of the accountants that was managing the books of the slave masters on the island of Nevis, and his father taught him about accounting and management, and that's where Alexander Hamilton got his skill from, his father. And he used that skill and went all the way to America and became one of the founding fathers of America. And just not too far from here, straight down, is where the slave market was on the island of Nevis. And I'm going to show you a little bit of how the system was back then. See, this is the yard. This is Alexander Hamilton's yard. The whole of this was his property. It is now being transformed into Cafe de Arts, a nice restaurant here that sells food and breakfast, and tourists normally comes along here and stop inside there to see. But before I show you how the slave market is and how it was, just gonna give you a little view of the outside on the other side of this property. Yeah, everything that I'm discussing here, it wasn't planned. I didn't prepare for it. It's just coming from my mind. So this is actually like a live video, and this is how the outside look. This is a nice restaurant here called Happy Endings. It sells good lunch. You could get good lunch and drinks inside there. Another restaurant that is being built up here. This is how the street look like, and from the outside. And Alexander Hamilton's museum, see the sign there? So all of this, yes I. Yes I. So this is the gate, And this is a street in Charlestown, Nevis. The enslaved African market is right down there. And I'm going to show you how it looks from the front side of it. Yes, this is how it is from the entry. And yeah, so when you get a chance, you could come on in and read about some of the history, but I find that some of the history is still missing from the island. We don't have much history on what actually happened from the route from Africa all the way to the Caribbean. Yeah, and this is the outside. One thing I noticed is that they had inside there's a lot of history about Alexander Hamilton, a whole room that is dedicated to the history of him, but little history about the actual enslaved Africans on Nevis, their names, where exactly in Africa they came from, details. We need more details, and we will have to maybe go to Europe or Africa to search for those details. But in the meantime, we are putting the story together right here on BHC Media. And this is the road on the next side of the island. The island of St. Kitts is just across the water there. Showing you a little view. And so when we put the information together, what you could see happen here, none of this was here. All of this was beach here. Yeah. How are we doing? Yeah. All of this was beach, and so the boats with the enslaved Africans came in right here, and the slave market was right here. Right here they were selling enslaved Africans. So how I could imagine that it was back in the day is that the boats came in from Africa with the enslaved Africans, were dropped off here, and then the Alexander Hamilton's house was down there. So they saw everything, and his father was the chief accountant for the slave masters on the island of Nevis. So I could imagine that Alexander Hamilton's father, when the boats came in, he came down and he counted the slaves and everything to make sure that how many slaves came off, and then while at the market here, he made sure how many slaves were there, how much they were sold for, all of that. So that is Alexander Hamilton's involvement in the slave trade, because his father would have trained him with the accounting skills, and he got that start from the actual slave trade, and that's when he made his way to America, and he became the founding father with the skills that he gained from the slave trade. He went to America to help to build America, help with the treasury, the federal system up there, and he transferred that skill from Nevis to America. Nothing was done on the island of Nevis to build Nevis. Hardly anything was done. So Alexander Hamilton did not do anything at all for the island of Nevis. But his name is mentioned all over. The island officials use Alexander Hamilton to market the island of Nevis, which is nothing is wrong with that. But we need to find more information on enslaved Africans, and the searching starts now. And enjoy the rest of your day. This was BHC Africa. Make sure you subscribe, and bye bye for now.